Changes today to the Reserve Bank loan-to-value lending policy with the move to exempt new residential construction loans. The exemption applies to houses yet to be built and takes effect from the 1st of October when LVR restrictions were first introduced. Consultation with the building industry and banks on the impact of LVR restrictions on residential construction activity led to the exemption. Now, low deposit lending will fall outside the 10% speed limit if it's financing the construction of a new house or apartment. It's expected the move will support the supply of new housing and reduce pressure arising from excess demand in New Zealand's housing market. A new report into child poverty shows 1 in 4 children live in poverty and 1 in 6 live without basic necessities such as decent food and bedding. Linked to the child poverty findings is educational achievement, and NZEI Te Reo says poverty is the main reason New Zealand has one of the highest levels of educational inequity in the OECD. National President Judith Nowatowski says the problem is a blight on our education, health and justice system, with many New Zealand children never able to have the opportunity to achieve their full potential. The NZEI is critical of government spending millions on measuring student achievement, yet refuses to measure child poverty. The child poverty research was initiated by the Children's Commissioner, Russell Wills. Preparation is well underway for the 2014 edition of the Southern Field Days at Waimumu in February. Southern Field Days Chair Mark Dillon says the event started in 1982 with 26 exhibitors. Now there's in excess of 700. Reason enough to construct a new half-hectare sized enclosure. Hunter Andrews asked him whether construction would be complete in time.
Everything's going to plan at this stage. The contractors are all aiming to be finished. The roofers are here working now. Walls are going on next week. The flooring's going on this week. The storage pond, we've got the guy for the liners looking at that today, so everything's tracking along pretty good.
When did planning begin for this? When did you decide that this is what was required?
Pretty much our last field days we started getting prices off different companies, and then last December we started on the groundwork, and it's just been rolling on since then.
And so what were those requirements? How did you decide what size structure you'd need and that sort of thing?
Well, we knew what size marquees we had been using, and we thought we'd have the capacity for more people, so we worked on 100 by 50 is what we came up with, and we sort of run with that and seen it fit our requirements.
And how much will that save you in the long run?
Well, what we were paying a marquee hire is paying the interest on the shed, so that's what we're working on, and with more events in it too, that'll help pay for the shed.
So the shed will be fully closed in, and in fact other people may be able to use it?
That's the plan, to hire it out and have more events in it. The more events we can have, the more money or revenue it will generate for itself, really.
Let's do a wee bit of a preview of next year's events. What's different? Is it bigger and better than ever?
Yeah, this is the biggest field days, biggest amount of sites we've had ever. We've probably got another 4 to 5 hectares of sites. The shed's already been sold out for 3 weeks, and the site's just about sold out now. I think 1 or 2 sites left, and just completely full.
What are the key attractions that get farmers and families here?
I just think it's the biggest display in South Island, or second biggest in New Zealand, of everything. You can see everything in farming in 1 day or 2 days, or probably 3 you need to really. Yeah, so everything's in one place.
And how far, in your experience with field days, how big has it gotten in that time, and from how far afield are people coming?
Well, I've been chairman for 6 years and it's grown considerably in my time, and since it started back in 1982 it's grown dramatically. But yeah.
What was that, just a few blokes in the middle of a paddock then?
It was 26 sites back in 1982 and we're up over 700 now. And as far as people coming far afield, there's companies exhibiting from Ireland and Australia and all over New Zealand.
Understanding fire danger and knowing when it's safe to burn is now easier thanks to hourly updates. Southern Rural Fire has extended their website to provide accurate, up-to-the-hour fire danger information. The new system takes science used by fire managers and makes it available for everyone online so people can make informed choices about when to burn. Previously, fire danger information was only available once a day at 2 p.m. and was quickly outdated. Information from 9 weather stations around Southland feeds data every 10 minutes, which is then updated hourly on their website.
Information is automatically fed back, updated once an hour to the website, and that not only provides the weather information but the fire danger as well.
How many of these do we have around the south?
So around Southland we have 9 at the moment, but we're installing another 3 or 4 as well.
And what sort of cost are they coming at?
They are roughly about $5,000 each per weather station.
And the key data that's being collected is what?
The key data is around temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, daylight hours, those types of things.
So how will that help people, the firefighters, to control fires?
So it gives us, it then models the weather data into fire danger data, and that lets us understand the tracking changes over time of how the fire danger is behaving, but it also makes it available to the public.
And as far as the season at the moment, you've gone into a restricted fire ban?
Yeah, we're in a restricted season, so people are still allowed to burn, but most activities require a fire permit, anything bigger than a campfire.
And you've been quite happy with the response and the responsibility of people doing that?
Yeah, people have been fantastic. We've hardly had any calls, we've had no serious calls, and the calls that we have had, people have actually called before the fires become a real issue, so people are burning really well.
Stay with us after the break. Spending brightens in the lead up to Christmas. Welcome back. Spending in the lead up to Christmas is well underway, with spending through the Paymark network up 8.6% on the same time last year. The increase comes on the back of a 6.8% annual growth in spending between November 2013 and 2012. In recent months, liquor purchasing grew 12.6%, furniture stores 15%, and accommodation providers saw 9% growth. Clothing and recreational goods stores saw modest pickup at 5.7% and 5.3% respectively. Nationwide, during November, the volume of card transactions through the Paymark network was 7% higher than a year ago, with credit card usage up 13.9% and debit card usage up 4.9%. Gore District Mayor Tracy Hicks says of the many issues facing his district heading into 2014, a changing demographic and the securing of a reliable water supply for Gore and Mataura would be the top of the list. Hunter Andrews asked him about both issues earlier today.
The challenges have been continuing supply and security of water supply, particularly for the Gore community, but also for the Mataura community. And coming to grips with the real realisation that our population is changing, it's ageing, but within that ageing structure, there's a real change in the structure of the younger population, and what does that mean for us as a community? So, while we've got infrastructure challenges on the horizon, particularly around water, but we've also got those social challenges that are big challenges and ones that we need to be very careful that we respond well to.
So those census statistics are telling you things about Gore. What are they saying?
Well, I think that they're saying that we're plateaued pretty much as terms of population growth goes. Natural growth is not happening, and that's a phenomenon right across rural New Zealand, and something that all communities are really struggling to get their heads around. What's the answer to that? But it's also telling us that within the 20 to 40-year-old group, there's a real hollowing out in that area, and that's where your natural growth comes from. So there's the people aren't there that are having lots of babies. So how do we respond to that? Now, having an ageing population isn't a problem per se. It just means that we, as a council, have to have different responses to what we've perhaps had in the past. And it might mean just a different focus on services. I think we've got a real lifestyle that we can sell here, and we must continue to sell that. And we certainly shouldn't give up on economic growth by any manner of means. That's always got to be a focus. But I think economic growth here may well be different to what we've looked at and considered in the past. And we just have to have the complete package around lifestyle and job opportunities, and those job opportunities may not be the traditional ones that we know. No great answers, but lots of questions and lots of challenges for the council.
Let's get back to the water issue. It's an issue with Gore. In fact, there's a water restriction that came on yesterday. This is drier than it was this time last year, and last year was a dry year.
Yeah, it's certainly drier earlier this year, so whether that same pattern will continue through, no one knows, but we're assuming that it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And yeah, it's something that we've grappled with for some time. Initially we thought that the challenge was really about supply, not having enough supply, but there has been, with a lot of work, an understanding that we've got challenges within our network. There's a lot of loss of water, and just making sure those losses are minimised and stopped has been the big focus for the council over the last year, and will continue to be over the next year, 18 months. And once we've got on top of that, then we'll be able to understand more about the requirement for extra supply if required.
The first signs that a dry Southland summer may be ahead with the imposition of water restrictions in Gore. Rainfall over the weekend has failed to recharge Gore's water supply wells, and as a result the Gore District Council has imposed level 2 water restrictions. Unattended hoses, sprinklers, garden irrigation systems and handheld hoses can be used between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. on alternate days. Residents with an even street number can water their garden on even numbered days of the week and odd street numbers on odd days. Water Asset Manager Sarah Dowling says the water level at Cooper's Wells and Jacobstown is lower than at the same time last year. She says that if everyone can be slightly better with their water use, it all adds up. And that brings us to a close for this Tuesday. Coming up in sport, action from the recent Condor Sevens from us, your news team. Good night.